So, thank you.
Hi, Michael. Thank you.
It's good to be here. We're at the Boxing Loft with the owner.
Emile R.
So, he's got some stories that he's going to share a couple of, one or two or three. And the purpose of these interviews, as you know, is to help other people understand as we all go through our journeys, there's different ways to be resilient. And resiliency is a process and a set of factors to help us be safer and happier and more successful. That's my simplified, because as you know, I live this, I don't have a degree in it, but I want to spread the word. So some would say I'm almost evangelical about resiliency. So thanks for the gift of time.
Thank you.
So let's go back in time and start where you wish to start.
How far back are we going here?
Well, it's up to you and your comfort zones, because you've got a few great things to share with us.
I do.
You do.
What would you like to know?
Well,
that will sort of help me determine how far
sure.
I have to go.
Well, first of all, why boxing?
Why boxing? Easy question.
Okay.
Short story is I was a triple jumper for many, many, many years. High performance, elite athlete. World class level, definitely. Many accomplishments at the NCAA Division I level.
Can you explain to people what NCAA is?
National Collegiate College Athletic Association.
See, better him say it than me.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
For people out of North America,
For
they
people-
might not know it.
Right, that's right. Absolutely
And
correct.
some of my videos, the Philippines love them. Some of my videos, I get seen in the U.S. and nobody in Canada watches. I don't know. It's not personal. Just whoever picks it up and shares it.
That would be USA,
Okay.
not Canada. But you obviously you work hard work, dedication to get yourself there, and that's exactly what I did to earn my scholarship, and did extremely well.
Good for you.
Made it to the 1996 Olympic trials. I'm
Wow.
very lucky because my background is American, having biological parents that were born in the United States. And so I had the opportunity to choose between attending the U.S. Olympic trials or the Canadian Olympic trials. I chose Canadian obviously because you want greater chance of getting there. Not because I'm afraid of the competition,
No.
because I was actually ranked quite high in the States, but I wanted a better positioning so I could get there. And again, I'm not really one for doing things for my country. For me, it was about doing it for myself.
Sometimes that's what you have to do.
So anyway, to make a long story short, at the Olympic trials, I suffered a career-ending injury. Had the absolute worst competition of my life before that happened, and it sent me into quite a depression.
I bet.
Because when you finish your athletic career much earlier than you've anticipated to do, you absolutely get lost, and that's what happened. I was diagnosed with bursitis of the hip, which I was told could develop into arthritis if I carried on, and so that's pretty well what helped me make my decision. After falling into the depression, I decided that I would leave Canada and go and live and find myself and get to know my roots in Chicago, Illinois, where my biological mother is from.
Okay.
Not with the intention to go and find her or meet her.
No.
Just I happened to meet a person that was from there. He was going back, and I ended up going back with him, and then ended up staying and living there for about a year.
Okay.
Did a lot of self-evaluation. When I came back to Canada, I sort of didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, but having been working in a health center when I was in Chicago, I figured maybe I'll try my hand at personal training. It's
Right.
sort of like coaching.
Well, you've got a long athletic career. You've been coached. So for that you received, now it's time to share.
That's right.
So to me, coaching is about sharing what you do know.
Yeah, so I decided to share, and shared, but also learned,
Right.
which is also extremely important if you want to be a successful teacher, coach, instructor, whatever it is that you want to call it. You have to keep your mind open to learning, and that I did. And I learned boxing from a
Okay.
guy that I used to see in the gym all the time, hitting the bag, and I was just like mesmerized by it, and I loved it. And he taught me, but jailhouse fighting. For those of you that don't understand that term, it basically is boxing, but a little bit dirtier, with dirty tricks.
Okay.
And so I did that.
So no rules per se.
No rules per se. Then my job transferred. I was working for a health center. The owner of the health center had many in Toronto. I don't want to say the name.
Nope.
So I transferred to this new location where they actually had a boxing room, a boxing studio inside the health center. And I started training, practicing the things that I was taught. My coach, Everton McEwen, that's where he discovered me. He saw me hitting the bag, came up to me, and basically said, "You should box. You're really good. I want to train you." And I basically answered with, already been there, done that. As a high-performance athlete since the age of 17. I'm now 25. My body doesn't want to do this anymore. His response to that was, "I'll tell you what, I'll train you for free. If you like it, we'll go from there." And then, no problem. That's sort of how I found boxing.
Okay.
And stumbled into that and had a successful career as much as I could, coming into a sport late.
Yes.
But what I really loved is I found myself through boxing as into coaching, and I very much enjoyed that. And so I got into the coaching, which helped my boxing, because when you're teaching, like I said, you're learning. And as I taught, things started to become more clear to me, and that's when it would be like, "Oh, that's what coaching meant when he said." And I became a better boxer and fighter from that.
I believe it. So what I hear you saying is, part of being resilient is mastery,
Absolutely.
and that's about practicing, and having a coach.
That's right.
And whether that's physical, financial, social, emotional, and having the courage to get a coach. So
Yeah, right on.
you're doing a lot of mastery work when you're being trained and being trainable, but then you're also practicing mastery by coaching others. So you're doing it from both sides.
Yeah.
And gaining from both.
Yeah.
So that's a
absolutely.
real powerful time in life when you have the courage to be coached. Or
Absolutely.
coach.
Absolutely powerful. And it was, I just, I found myself again.
Good for you.
And when you find yourself in something that, you see tremendous passion in, and so therefore you develop a great deal of passion, it's just, it just brings you to this place where I can't even describe it. So I was very happy, and I found my niche, and there you have it, and here I am today.
Here you are today. Very good. So that's the first question we had for you. Well, I just didn't think it was going to be first.
Good question.
Thank you. Anyway, so part 2. That way when I'm racing through it, I'll catch that. So boxing, it's a metaphor for life, some say. It's a sweet sport. So what do people get out of taking lessons for boxing? Obviously the clients I saw today are here for lessons and exercise, but what do they tell you they get out of it?
Really, wow. It depends on the person, the individual that I'm training. People come to me for so many different reasons, but I would say that the most common one is that people are just really tired of the same old gym routine.
Okay.
They want to add variety. They want something that is going to challenge them. They want something that is going to be more tangible to things that they can apply to their daily lives. Women tell me, one of my very good friends, Anya Khan, she said to me that as a woman, what boxing does and did for her was give her a better sense of empowerment. She feels empowered.
Okay.
And I think that's what that does for a lot of women.
Yes.
Because men, I think, naturally, in society, we, have a easier time showing our aggressive side. And it's not as difficult for us to be aggressive and show, anger and frustration. Whereas women, I think, because of society, they, you wouldn't want to show that you're too angry, It's not ladylike.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing. Yeah.
And so when they come in here, I'm basically telling them the complete opposite. No. I need you to bring everything out of you. Whatever it is, get in touch with your rage, your anger, your frustrations. When you're throwing punches, throw through your target. Don't just hit the target, throw through it. And they love that.
I had a martial arts instructor who said, Michael, you're not trying to swat a fly off their nose. If you're fighting, you're trying to punch here.
Yeah.
You're not punching the fly off the nose. And I was like, oh. And once I got it, I was like, oh, this is fun.
It's very uplifting, and as I said, it really empowers you. And I'm not saying that men aren't empowered by it, because they probably are. But I think women, it touches women in a different way.
Okay. Okay.
And then you have clients coming here for, the very reason why people exercise and have a daily fitness routine or 3 times a week fitness routine, whatever it is that they choose to, however many times a week they choose to train, but they just want something, to keep them physically fit.
Okay.
And I can tell you, boxing definitely improves focus, it improves coordination, it improves stamina, it builds strength, it builds mental strength, and it obviously, the word that you like very much, Michael, resiliency.
I taught job search. I know you know that. But I found people who were physically active did better in job search because they had a place to exercise and blow off frustration and build their physical stamina, because it takes stamina in our society to stay employed.
Yep.
In the old days, you got a job and you stayed for 10, 20, 40 years. Now, you stay for 10 months, 25 months, and you got to keep looking. Even when you got a job, you got to keep looking. And that takes, you got to be on.
Exactly.
And so people need that.
Exactly.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So that was number 2. Peace out. Anyways, so you've had a long journey. So now boxing, elite athlete. What happened before that?
Before.
How'd you get there? Like, you went through some stuff.
Yeah. My life is, I don't want to make it like this sob story.
No,
because,
but it's a real story. It happened to you.
It is a real story. A painful story. I went through some really difficult times, difficult issues that a child should never have to go through. Trust issues with adults that were supposed to take care of me, namely my grandfather. And you trust in them, and they don't take care of you. Instead, they do damage to you. And so that was tough. And again, this is why I always talk about low self-esteem and low self-confidence. Of course, I had a very low self-esteem, so I allowed it to happen to me over and over and over again, not just by my grandfather, but other people in my life, until I was about 12. So, and that's sort of what put me in this place of loneliness, of not really knowing how to be outgoing and make friends. So you automatically learn how to become a loner. But not only that, you find that becoming a loner is much, much better because it's safer. And to this day, I'm a loner. Probably due to that. But now the difference is I enjoy being alone.
Yes.
Whereas when I was a kid, well, I'm not really sure I can say I enjoyed being alone. I didn't have I didn't have difficulty playing by myself, but I can't really say I enjoyed being alone.
No, but somewhere, somehow, you had the strength of character to be alone and stay safe, is what I hear you saying, for the most part.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's a big, big factor for a lot of people, is they have such a need to be around people and have approval that they go the wrong directions.
Right, exactly.
So it takes courage to be alone and enjoy being alone.
Now it does, yes. And I wish I understood that when I was younger, but I mean, I was a child.
Right.
And I'm very fortunate that my baby sister, Nicole, who now lives in Australia, and I miss her dearly every single day.
And you notice I didn't say hello to Nicole down under? Oh, I just did.
Hi, Nicole.
We'll make sure she sees this. We will track her down.
She was my lifeline. She was.
Bless her.
She was my best friend. She was my playmate. She was the one person in my life that I felt just accepted me and just loved me for being M. Well, that's what my family calls me. M.
Sure.
And
sounds like secret agent. I'm talking to M.
So yeah, I was just discovering things about myself, who I was as a person, sexually as well, the way I was born as a person, sexually. At the time, I don't think I really understood a lot about it, about who I was.
Right.
And so it was very difficult. They have a lot of names for different things all the time. They always want to label people, label things.
Yes.
Calling people trans this, trans that, trans identify this. Frankly, I don't identify with any of that. None of that really makes any sense to me whatsoever. Not taking it away from people that are going through that or have gone through or are going through transitions. But for me, it was just knowing that one of these things is not like the other.
That's really politely said.
And so that was a struggle. It was a struggle not because I was sad inside about it. It was a struggle because I'm trying to express this to everybody else in my life who's saying, no, you're this, you're not that, you're not this. And I'm saying, no, I think I know who I am.
Yep.
But when you're a child and you don't really understand the terminology, you don't really have people that are there sort of that know, okay, what's happening here? What's going on? Like this for real? Do we need to do something about this? And because I don't want in any way at all it to seem as though I'm blaming my parents,
No.
because I'm not.
No.
My parents have always been the most supportive people in my life, and I love them dearly. And anytime they have found out about something, they
Right.
have given me 100% of their support.
Awesome.
But I think that what I'm saying is that I just wish that when I was telling people that, no, this is who I am, I would have been heard.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that I have to take responsibility for, because I didn't know how to make myself heard, because I was very introverted, very quiet as a child, very sad inside, extremely depressed most of the time. And so I didn't talk a lot. And most of the time people did the talking for me.
So I would suggest that until you're at least 21, you can't blame yourself, because you're still becoming you. Well, like to me, we're becoming us the day we die, even if we're 99 years old. But before you're 21 at least, you're still getting the basics together.
That's right.
So I wouldn't even say you could blame yourself. You just didn't have the skills or the awareness to use to articulate to others to get them to be heard. So I would say the adults didn't know how to listen and interpret. Not to blame them, just to, and we shared off camera that I have some friends with children going through this, and they were like, oh, wow, it really scares some people, and other people just don't know what to say, so they go away. And they just disappear. And as one of the grandmothers said to me, the child's only 6 years old. They're just a nice child. I said, well, that's how I see the child, a nice child.
That's right.
Oh, very good, well said. So I would just let yourself off the hook about that, not saying it, because so you're at least 21, how are you supposed to?
Yeah, I have left myself off the hook now.
Good.
But just expressing to you, so,
Okay.
trying to give you an idea of where I was in my
Good.
headspace at the
Good.
time. But
Okay.
now I'm in a very good place, and pardon my French, but I really don't give a shit what most people think about me. There's people out there that know who I am, who I was. Whatever your feelings are about
You're still the same person
I
to
can
me.
really care less. I don't care.
Yeah.
I am who I am.
Yep.
The way I was born, the things that I had to go through, that was my journey. Whoever was gave me that journey, that's what I got. If
Right.
you believe in a higher power, you believe in God, your higher power is the universe, whatever, I'm just saying, I had no choice.
That was your
Nobody, and I repeat, nobody asks to be born the way that I was born.
Right.
I can't help it.
No.
All I could do was, just make a decision and just, give myself permission. Is what I learned in the 13 years of counseling that I went
Yes.
through. Give myself permission to say, you know what? And pardon my French again, I don't give a fuck
No.
what people think or how this is going to affect them, because you know what? It's not about you.
No.
It's about me, and it's
Absolutely.
about me being happy in my life. And if you don't like it, or you have a problem with me, that's great, because I probably have a problem with you, and would rather you not be in my life.
I'm not laughing
if
at
you're
you.
going to be judgmental
Yes.
and ugly as a person to me or anybody else that has a different situation than what you're used to,
Yep.
then I'm not interested in having you in my life anyway,
No, I totally agree.
because there's nothing that you can give me.
So something that you touched on, there's one word that I had had to learn in my coaching and counseling sessions, and that's acceptance. Because the part of being resilient is we got to accept who we are. To be serious and silly, at 13, I figured if I ate those vegetables, exercised well, I would hit the target of being 6 foot tall. It's a small issue. As I teased my mother, I made it to 5'9" and a half, or is it 5'9" and an eighth? Doesn't matter. But it was real important at 13, and by 19 it was like, oh, I guess this isn't going to happen, oh well. But acceptance about where we're at, whether it's a little issue or a big issue.
Yeah, acceptance is a big thing.
It's huge, and I see it blocking people's resiliency all the time. If I could just be, pick something, taller, thinner, smarter.
Lighter.
Yeah, well,
That's a
how
big
about
one.
how about more muscles? Well, I have a friend from a country where she said, Michael, I'm mixed race. At one point, mixed race couldn't go past grade 4. She said, what, white people and black people can go to grade 8, but mixed race people can go to grade 4? What's that about? So she went and left there and went to Canada and got a degree and went back and started school.
Nice.
Because you didn't mess with this lady. She was going to let everybody get their grade 8. And this is 1940s. So
That's wonderful.
self-acceptance. She accepted that she was what she was. Now, to misquote a song, she brought the hammer down and said, we're going to do this. Helped support her husband. He went back to school, got his university, came back, and they went from there. Ended up forming a political party. And now everybody gets grade 12. Race, color, creed, it's secondary. Yes, so yeah, I hear you. I say that this is gift wrap. It's important, but it's gift wrap, and I want to discuss the gifts inside. One of the reasons why the man's interesting to me is the gifts that he shares. And the gift wrap's interesting, but it's secondary to everything else.
That's right.
Because the behavior and the values you bring to the situation. Oh, so that was quite a journey. Thank you.
It was a journey, yeah.
Wow. So I agree with you about self-acceptance and again mastery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I heard you say you went to outside to get some counseling. I think that, as I heard it said, some checkups from the neck ups are how we grow our courage and grow our strength mentally, physically, and emotionally, because it helps us with our awareness and our self-understanding.
That's right.
So I thank you for sharing that, because some of the people that watch are parents, some of the people that watch are grandparents, some are teenagers, and some are regular folk, and English is their third language. And somebody said, well, in my country, we're not very progressive about anything. She said, so I'm using a Gmail account, so you don't know what country I'm writing from. So she said, I watch all your stuff. And I went, oh my. Well, in some countries, we can't have these sorts of talks.
No, you can't.
And so that's sad.
And if I can just, say one thing about acceptance, is just so people understand. One of the, the biggest problems that, I see and that I've found is that we're trying to define acceptance through understanding. And people really need to get and hear this. They really need to get that acceptance and to understand something are two completely different things.
Yep.
If you look them up in the dictionary and you look at each word, you're not going to see understanding under acceptance, and you're not going to see acceptance under understanding.
Love
They're
it.
different definitions.
Absolutely.
We do not have to understand everything to accept something. And that's the one. And look, this is something that I tell myself as well, because there's things out there that I might not necessarily understand or agree with, but there's one thing that I never, ever, ever do, and that's judge someone or tell another human being that they're not a human being, or that they're a sin, or whatever other nasty and ugly terms people come up with, because I don't understand it.
Yep. I totally agree. I'm going to cut that piece out separate. It'll stay in the interview, but I'm going to cut that piece out because that's the best articulation I've heard of it.
Thank you.
And I agree, because I work with that summer camp of special needs kids, and they've all got alphabet catchphrases after their name. This one's got this one's got this, and... Yeah, but aren't they just kids to love first, respect? And to have that little boy last year who's been medicated for 9 years because of his medical condition and mental health condition, and we teach him one skill, and he's all excited because for 10 or 20 minutes a day he can control his mind and be calm. And he's like, Mister, this changes everything. And his grandma said, well, he loves you because you just loved him. So it doesn't make me better than anybody. You just articulated what my parents taught me in a whole different way. Thank you for the gift.
Thank you.
So I think we're going to end this here, because that's enough for one day. My heart's full. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
So what do kids get out of boxing here?
easy. They build their self-confidence, they build their self-esteem, they learn how to deal with their anger or their frustrations in an appropriate manner. They are provided with an outlet so that they're not causing harm to themselves or others. And we try to build a really tough physical and mental being.
Very nice. Thank you.